And hello, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. Thanks so much for streaming with us. President Biden calling for the U.S. to ramp up its support for Ukraine. He spoke just a short time ago asking Congress for $33 billion in aid over the next 5 months and announcing legislative proposals to crack down on Russian oligarchs.
Much of the new equipment we've announced in the past 2 weeks has already gotten to Ukraine, where it can be put to direct use on the battlefield. Today, in order to sustain Ukraine as it continues to fight, I'm sending Congress a supplemental budget request. It's going to keep weapons and ammunition flowing without interruption to the brave Ukrainian fighters and continue delivering economic and humanitarian assistance to the Ukrainian people.
ABC's Kenneth Moten here with us in Washington for more. So, Kenneth, okay, this is a much larger number that we have seen so far. Is there even enough support in Congress to approve this big of a package?
We've seen the bipartisan support before when it comes to aid to Ukraine. We saw it with that $13 billion in aid that was approved by Congress last month. That was a bipartisan effort there. $33 billion is a massive price tag, Kira, but you heard President Biden say the cost of this fight in Ukraine is not cheap and that caving to Russian aggression will be more costly. More than $20 billion of that 33 will be for military and other security systems. The White House is working to make the case here that this help that's already been given to Ukraine is making a world of difference there. The president said it's making a significant difference on the battlefield, helping Ukrainians defend their country and win the battle for their capital, Kyiv. But we know that war is shifting and intensifying in Ukraine's eastern front, and the president is essentially saying here is the money, here is the funds for this long-term effort here to show not only solidarity with Ukraine, but to help provide security to Eastern Europe here and to NATO allies. In addition, Kira, we should report to this legislative proposal in this package. The Biden administration is also sending this proposal to Congress to enhance their capabilities to hold oligarchs, Russian oligarchs, accountable here. And so you'll see some new authorities that will be provided to the DOJ to go after property, to seize properties. We've heard about the yachts and other things that have been seized from these oligarchs in the past. Well, the Biden administration wants to up that, intensify that, and provide new authority to the DOJ to go after that because we know oligarchs here are benefiting from this war as well and helping fund Putin's war. We also see some measures in this proposal that will allow and really help the inflation costs here at home. The president is saying that this will essentially not only benefit Americans when it comes to inflation, but he talked about the economic disruptions here at home. So this package includes help that will increase U.S. production of food crops such as wheat and soybeans and funding to allow the use of the Defense Production Act to expand domestic production of critical reserves as well. So just a multifaceted, wide-ranging proposal here. But again, $33 billion, a massive price tag. We are getting Capitol Hill reaction right now, but we do expect there to be bipartisan support. But when you got that big price tag, it is a little bit of a sticker shock. But again, it's for over the next 5 months to the end of the fiscal year at the end of September. Kira.
All right. We'll follow the impacts. Kenneth Moten, thank you so much. Well, this comes as Russian President Vladimir Putin issues a new warning now to all countries helping Ukraine that if you threaten Russia, well, its response will be instant. Senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell has the latest now from southern Ukraine.
The Pentagon saying more than half of 90 U.S. howitzers for Ukraine have now arrived. It's weapon systems like these American artillery guns that angers Russia. President Putin with a stark warning to Western nations who intervene in Ukraine. While not directly mentioning nuclear weapons, he hints at it, threatening, we have all the instruments that no one else could brag about. We will not brag about it. Meanwhile, Russia abruptly stopping gas supplies to Poland and Bulgaria, two NATO countries. A move European leaders call blackmail. Ukrainian President Zelensky accusing Russia of weaponizing commodities, saying Russia considers not only gas but any trade as a weapon. The United Nations Secretary-General visiting the outskirts of Kyiv, the sites of some of the most horrific atrocities of the war.
There is no way a war can be acceptable in the 21st century.
The Secretary-General flew here after meeting Putin in Moscow, where the UN says an agreement was made in principle to evacuate civilians trapped at the steel plant in Mariupol. Previous attempts to rescue them have repeatedly failed. A Ukrainian commander said to be inside the plant pleading for the civilians and his fellow soldiers to be evacuated to safety, saying if that doesn't happen, people here will simply die. This comes as new satellite images reportedly showing evidence of a third mass grave site outside the city. And now reports of explosions inside 3 Russian cities, some near the border with Ukraine. Over Belgorod, videos circulating online show an explosion in the sky and a fire at an ammunition dump. The cause of these explosions are unknown, no claim of responsibility, but an advisor to President Zelensky saying simply, karma is a cruel thing. The Pentagon spokesman John Kirby saying the first 50 Ukrainians have now been trained on these US-made howitzers and 50 more are now getting instructions. But these weapons and the know-how can't come soon enough for the Ukrainians fighting for their lives in the east of the country as the Russian advance starts to grow. Kira?
Ian Panel for us. Thank you, Ian. And new details on American Marine veteran Trevor Reed returning to the U.S. after nearly 3 years in Russian prisons. Russia releasing him in a dramatic prisoner swap in exchange for a Russian pilot convicted of drug trafficking here in America. This video from Russian state TV shows the moments that swap happened on that airport tarmac in Turkey. Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz has more now on how it all unfolded as tensions continue to soar over in that war in Ukraine.
A homecoming 985 days in the making. Former U.S. Marine Trevor Reed back on U.S. soil after nearly 3 years of imprisonment in Russia. The 30-year-old now recovering after a long journey home, landing in San Antonio. Reed freed as part of a top-secret international prison swap carried out Wednesday on a tarmac in Turkey. This video broadcast by Russian state TV showing Reed on the left walking straight past the man for whom he was traded, convicted Russian drug smuggler Konstantin Yaroshenko. Reed not looking back even once as he boarded a plane to safety. Reed was visiting his girlfriend in Moscow in 2019 when he was arrested after a night of heavy drinking. The Russians allege he started a fight and assaulted a police officer. But Reed and the U.S. government denied those claims, calling them fabricated. Reed was sentenced to 9 years in prison. The U.S. government believed he was being used as a political bargaining chip. The Reeds believe that Trevor's deteriorating health was one reason he was released. Trevor will be treated at a U.S. military facility in San Antonio, where he will hopefully make a full recovery. The Reed family says their joy is tempered by the fact that Paul Whelan and Brittany Griner remain imprisoned in Russia. Kira?
All right, our Martha Raddatz, thanks so much. And now to our kids, COVID, and the classroom. Ariel Reshef is taking a closer look at the pandemic's impact on education and what parents can do to help their kids get back on track.
Continent. Say it fast.
Chrissy France has been a teacher for 17 years at Emma Donan Elementary and Middle School in Indianapolis.
Say, you go, girl.
You go, girl. Her concentration is on the building blocks of literacy, and France says she's noticed for many, foundational reading skills are behind.
I've noticed a big impact on my scholars as a result of the pandemic. Scholars who are learning from home, learning all these sounds and learning all these concepts, but with a mask over our faces.
A December 2021 report showed middle school children nationwide were scoring about 9 to 11 percentile points lower in math and 3 to 7 percentile points lower in reading compared to historic averages. In fact, research comparing testing numbers from 2019 to 2021 found that more than 1 in 3 children in kindergarten through 3rd grade are considered far behind in reading, requiring intensive intervention to achieve performance at their grade level. France says that's reflected in many of her 3rd grade students.
We still have scholars who are still sounding out very first grade level words. We are seeing scholars who are sometimes behind, half a grade level, a whole grade level.
Dr. Karen Lewis is a senior research scientist who has conducted multiple studies on the pandemic's effect on education.
What we're seeing now at the start of the 21-22 school year is that achievement in both reading and math is lower than historic averages.
And experts say students of color and students in high poverty areas have been impacted the most.
The achievement gaps that already existed before the pandemic have only been dramatically exacerbated over the 2 years. We need to be leaning in really hard to make sure we do everything possible to provide supports to those students.
There's plenty of other kids who, in the first lunch.
In Washington, D.C., Cassandra Gentry is raising her 11-year-old granddaughter, Jada, and says she has seen her reading fall behind grade level.
She was about to go into the 4th grade when all of this happened. Now she's on her way to middle school, and we're still playing catch up.
Now her grandmother, who happens to be a reading tutor, is focused on helping her gain the ground and confidence she lost with supplemental learning.
I'm just trying to get her to know that once she reads, she can get so much knowledge from reading, and it makes you feel so much better about yourself.
Back in Indiana, Fran says being in person and free after-school programs are already helping kids catch up.
Get ready. This next syllable is?
But experts say it could take years to get back on track.
One bright spot or a piece of good news is we already know that students who are lowest achieving also tend to grow at the fastest rates over the course of the year.
And Kara, educators we spoke to suggested extra reading practice at home or enrolling your child in youth reading programs. And keep in mind, many schools provide resources like free tutoring and after-school programs and summer enrichment to get kids back on track. Kira.
All right, Ariel, thank you so much. Well, coming up, we will have more news. Don't go far.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.